Reducing fractions. There's several different techniques for this. Okay. So we're going to look at one, the idea of things dividing to 1. So the key to this is just understand that a number divided by itself is 1. So, 3 divided by 3 is 1. X divided by x is 1. So something divided by itself is 1. That's really the whole premise for what we're going to do. So what we're going to do this is we're going to break these into prime factorizations. So I'll kind of do it right here. I'll do, I'm going to do a factor tree. Okay. So now I know I can rewrite this as 6 is the same as 2 times 3, and 8 is the same as 2 times 2 times 2. So if you have a number that's divided by itself, then it's a 1. And what people say, people say it cancels out, but it really just turns into a 1. So those two. So you typically would see it like this, and then you see somebody say, "Oh, that reduces to a 1," and then I'm left with just multiply back together what I got. Okay. A lot of people say they took a 2 out, but it's the same. This is really what's going on here. Okay. Looking at something like this, -4 over 12. Okay. So I'm going to go and do a factor tree. One thing I'll say about negatives, just to make your life easy, just go ahead and split it up. A -1 right away. Okay. So I'm going to rewrite this as -1 times 2 times 2. Then I got 12. Okay. And that's divided by 2 times 2 times 3. Alright, so these two, that's a 1 and that's a 1, so I'm left with -1 over 3. -3 over -7. Well, if you did this one here, you might realize that there's not much to do. Right? But I'll rewrite it like that. That's my numerator. And look, there's a 1 right there. And so you could also think of it as a negative divided by a negative as a positive. Okay. 24 over 36. So same thing, I'm going to go and do my factor trees. And there's some ways to kind of shortcut this stuff, but this will always work. 2 times 12, 2 times 6, and then 2 times 3. So I'm going to rewrite 24 as this. And I'll break this one into this. So I'm going to go and put them in order. So it's 2 times 2 and then 2 3s. So then I look what reduces, or what turns into a 1. There's a 1, there's a 1, and there's a 1. So I'm left with 2/3. Okay. Let's do one more. How about 45 over 80? Okay. So I'll go to my 45 over here, and I can break this up into 9 times 5, and then 3 times 3. And then 80, I'm going to break this up into 8 times 10. That's a 2 times a 5, 2 times a 4, and a 2 times a 2. So my 45, and then my denominator, the only thing it turns into a 1 is what it looks like right there. So this looks like 9 over 16. Right. So one of the things you may be thinking is that, hey, I can do this faster. And so you can cheat this a little bit, or not cheat, speed it up. So what somebody might do, and this is what I would probably do myself, is if I looked at this, the first thing that I would probably do is look and see what number do I know is going to divide the easiest, right? So what I would probably do is jump probably right into this. 5 times 9, and then I'd probably break this into 5 times 16. All right, and I can save myself a little bit of time. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, but this way you're not going to get confused. It may take a little bit longer, but you can always get to the answer.